Listen, I'm feeling attacked. I'm feeling very, very attacked. There's a lot of trends that happen on like TikTok, right? And a lot of time it's very much US versus the UK. Why are the UK shit? Why do they always eat beans? And in the UK are like to the US, oh, you guys eat shit. You don't eat beans. You know, it's like, it's stupid crap no one cares about. I personally love the US and I don't eat beans. But one thing I saw, one thing I came across recently is this thing where a lot of people are saying Europe and Europeans smell bad. Just to clear this up, because I know this is an issue for some people. Although the UK left the European Union, we are still in the continent of Europe, right? So we're included in that. Do we smell bad? I smell fine. I did shower recently. Let's do this.
French cliché part 5.
Do French people smell bad?
We are only aware of this cliché when we go abroad.
We don't think we stink. And by the way, to stink in French is puer.
And we love perfume, so we always smell good.
Well, dans le métro, in the subway, it does smell bad. There's a particular smell that's not pleasant.
What do you think? Do we smell bad?
Tell us in the comments.
I have been in France and I've been around French people. I do not think you smell bad at all. However, do certain like, you know, metros, subways, the tube, underground smell bad? Yes, everywhere you go. Listen, I went to New York. I've been in London. Stinks. Not all the time. Like occasionally you'll just be like, oh my god, what's that random smell that just appears out of nowhere? It absolutely happens. And sometimes even if you're in a country, but I guess it's the same with everywhere, like farms and stuff, it just randomly smells like horse crap. That's life. No, because I don't understand why people in the London Underground smell so bad. It makes me so angry. I don't know why, but it really makes me mad. Like, did you not wash? Let me tell you. I lived in London for about 7 years. 7 years I was there. Yes, sometimes some people did smell bad. Do I know why? No. Perhaps I didn't use deodorant that day. It is hot. It is hot on the tube, on the underground. Let me tell you that. Even in winter, the freezing cold of winter, it is boiling hot. Maybe they're a bit sweaty. They've had a whole day. There's this kind of vibe in London. I don't know about you. Maybe it's just me. When I live there and even when I go back, for some reason, I just kind of rush around like I have something to do when I really don't. You know what I mean? Like I could be casually shopping and I'm walking like this, like, you know, like I should be somewhere in some period of time. It's a very sweaty place. It's a very sweaty place to be. And public transport is just always crowded. Well, depending on what time you travel, overcrowded. It's always humid. It's always hot. It's not the best place to be in terms of odor. I'll be honest with you. And there have been times that I've been on a tube and I'm like, oh my god, why does it smell like cheese and onion, like crisps? And it's usually someone with bad body odor. Now this is what started this investigation for me, right?
This Mexican guy last night, and he told me that it's common here to think that European people smell. And I was like, okay, interesting. And he was like, yeah, my friend, she's Mexican, but she now lives in France. And now when she comes back, she smells. And I said, well, I know like Latino people shower a lot. Like it's common for them to shower like once, twice a day. And he was like, do you shower every day? And I said, mostly. Yeah, I guess, maybe not. Sometimes I skip a day. And he was like, cool. So yeah, I don't know, maybe European people do smell, but I like how I smell, so I guess it's their problem.
I don't think it's someone else's problem when you yourself smells. Do I think you should shower every day? I do. And I think you should have a good shower every day. You know, there are products you can buy that kind of like neutralize what's going on under the armpits. A lot of people say it's like harmful to shower every day. It's not that deep. Just don't use your water too hot. Just be clean. Just be like, you know, hygienic. I know some people be like, you know, bills and stuff like that, but you know what? Have like what's it called when you just get like a washcloth and wipe your body down, your whole body. You don't even have to be in the shower. Fill your sink up, you know. There's ways to clean yourself, and I think it's kind of important to do so. Now let me tell you, as a Mexican person, a Mexican European, I don't smell, and I don't think people around me smell. So I do think perhaps maybe it is a showering issue, but I'm not sure what people's beef is with France and them smelling, because again, I've yet to experience that. But people seem pretty like hygienically angry at the French. And it says, wondering why people in Europe have such a bad BO, and why am I always sitting next to them in a flight trying not to throw up? Okay, I don't agree that people in Europe smell, because that's like a generalization. Of course there are people who don't smell. That's like saying all people in the US have a flag outside of their house. Of course there's people who don't. Just one's a bit more insulting than the other. I do have to say though, and I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, I'm not saying Europe smells. When I was on vacation this year, me and my partner got on this bus that took you to the airport to a seaplane, which then took you to the island, right? And we did get on the bus with a lot of Europeans. It's actually making me gag thinking about it now. One couple in front, oh my God, it actually makes me feel sick. One couple in front of us, the smell coming off them. I can confirm they were from Europe because we had to give our passports and stuff like that at this little desk thing. The smell coming off them was unbelievable. And you don't want to be rude, but it gets to a point where you have to kind of sit like this and do. Me and my partner were putting like Bath and Body Works hand sanitizer on our hands and sitting like this because the smell was so unbelievable. I know flying and stuff like that can be like, you can get a bit gross feeling, but I mean there are things you can do, you know what I mean?
I find this post absolutely ridiculous because yes, people will go to Europe from America and say that it stinks, but when Europeans come to America, like Los Angeles and New York City specifically, they'll also say it stinks. Let's just be honest with all of ourselves. Just let's be honest for a second. There are many places that will stink. That doesn't mean that Europe sucks. That doesn't mean that America sucks. Hell, that doesn't mean any other country or continent sucks. It's just a part of life, which in turn we could get into a whole other subject of why these places stink. And without going into detail, they shouldn't stink, but it's because of the governments allowing these specific situations to happen. People like to always think that their country is better than any other country. It makes perfect sense. But let's just be all honest with ourselves. If you're gonna go travel to another country, just know it's not gonna be perfect.
I think that's very true. When you travel to another country, right, it's not your home. It's not what you're used to. It's not where you're comfortable. Very rarely do you travel to somewhere else and be like, this is where I could stay permanently, you know what I mean? In terms of working there and living life there. It's all well and good when you're on vacation there and you don't have to do anything. But when you have to actually live your life there, it's a different story. Places do randomly smell like crap. Like even in the same place, one day you could open your front door and be like, why does it smell like shit today? You know? I had that again, living in various different places in a few different countries. It happens. I feel like sometimes we just get used to a particular smell and we kind of like, our noses kind of get used to it. I remember my school used to be near a mushroom farm. Weekly, they would put heaps and heaps of cow poo on these mushrooms, right? It's like a fertilization situation, whatever it is. I'm not a gardener, I don't know. But the smell, repulsive, and it was spread for miles and miles and miles. And all you wanted to do was die when you first smell it. But then it settles in and you kind of like, oh, I can't smell it anymore. I'm just so used to it. That happens in loads of different places. The world stinks. The world smells. And a lot of the time you're just used to its odor.
It's become a running joke lately where Americans are traveling to Europe and talking about how Europeans seemingly don't drink water and are always dehydrated. This kind of cultural difference is not by chance. Drinking water isn't just defined by our thirst, it's equally defined by pop culture, politics, and pollution. And it's only been within the last couple decades that it's gathered such high cultural importance in the United States. So where did this cultural shift come from? Well, before the rise in popularity of water bottles, most Americans were getting their water through a pipe source. For example, their kitchen sinks, public water fountains, and so on. Then in 1986, an EPA study came out saying that the drinking water of 1/5 of all Americans contained dangerous levels of lead. In response, bottled water sales began to rise. As we move into the 2000s and 2010s, Americans are starting to eat healthier, and in response are starting to drink more water. We have the American industrial health industry glamorizing the effects of water, claiming that it clears the toxins out of your body, it leads to weight loss, mood elevation, clear skin. Coincidentally, what ended up happening was this call to drink more water became the marketing call to drink more bottled water. For comparison, in 1982, bottled water consumption in the United States amounted to 3.4 gallons per person per year. By 2014, we were drinking 34 gallons of water per person per year. The reusable water bottle industry has also exploded, especially in the last decade. Reusable water bottles used to be mainly for the outdoorsy, environmentally friendly crowd, and now there's a new $50 water bottle that becomes trendy every 6 months. More than $2 million in reusable water bottles were sold in the United States in 2022, which is up from $1.5 billion in 2020. But also sales of single-serving water bottles have reached up to 11.3 billion gallons in 2022. So it's not by chance that Americans drink so much water compared to other countries. It has been a multi-industry effort over multiple decades to push water consumption to Americans.
I think that's really interesting as I sit here completely dehydrated, because one thing I did notice about living in the US was how many people carried like a reusable water bottle around with them. I found it really like, oh, that's quite useful. You know what I mean? Whereas I guess in the UK we have water like in different ways. We don't just drink a lot of time pure water. Of course, people drink a lot of tea, which is water as well. But we also have like squash, you know, where you put a little bit of this much and fill it up with water. So it's another form of water intake. Now people drink a lot of, like, of course we drink water, we'll be dead, right? But that's a really good observation. I don't know why anyone cares so much about it, but it's a really good observation.
Smells like pee-pee and poo-poo in here. No, seriously, why does it smell like caca and wee-whiz in here?
I've seen so many Europeans stitch this video and start screaming about, oh, well, did you know that Europe actually is a continent? It's not one country. There are so many different countries in Europe, and they're all so different. Like, are you guys really that stupid? And it's like, are y'all really that stupid? Do you not comprehend what a fucking generalization is? Is it that hard of a concept to grasp? Genuinely. But as someone who's traveled to a majority of Europe, and considering y'all couldn't get generalizations, a majority is 51% or more of Europe, and taken international trains, domestic trains, metros, trams, Marstrukas, fucking buses, a lot of the stations stink. A lot of them do stink. There are a few exceptions, but most do stink, either because people piss in them, they shit in them, they smoke in them, or they just don't clean out the bins, so they're overflowing everywhere. Or on the other side of the spectrum, the people just fucking stink, because it seems like deodorant isn't really common, specifically in this region. You know, believe it or not, deodorant is not illegal in Europe. It is not like the elusive Red 40, which also isn't banned. It's readily available. People just don't fucking use it, so all of the stations stink. Then I've seen a shit ton of them go on about, oh, but like, why are you guys pretending like the stations in, like, New York don't stink? Where did you see that in that video? Not once did they mention anything about the United States. Y'all are just creating a scenario in your head and then believing that it's true. Talk about fucking stupid and delusional. Because no one is saying that metro stations or bus stations in New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Los Angeles aren't smelly. They're talking about where they are. Oh my fucking god.
Okay, a few things in that video. Just for deodorant thing, I do not know anyone who doesn't use deodorant. I don't understand why people wouldn't use deodorant or a form of something to keep their armpits fresh. This is literally a new thing to me these past like 2 days, that apparently some people in some European countries don't wear deodorant. I don't understand that concept. Also, yes, people full on have a piss and shit in the stations, 100%. I've even seen someone have a piss on the actual train. Yeah. It happens. There are all kinds of people in big cities, and they do so. And this is why sometimes I feel really sorry for people who come to London, like as a tourist, and they take pictures of phone boxes, right? Because I think they expect them to be this iconic, like, London thing. And actually, they pretty much now they're all broken. They all have like adverts for sex workers in, and people piss in them. It's really like, is it common everywhere else in nightlife for people to just have a piss wherever? Because it happens. That person's 100% right. People do full on defecate in the stations, in the bus, and I'm saying this from experience, not me do it. Have I had a wee? No, I haven't. Not me doing it, but seeing people do it. Drunk on a night out, some guy's just standing in the corner having a wee in like the main entrance to the, not outside, we're inside, into the station. Yeah, full on. I don't know why you're offended by the fact that your station stinks. They do smell. They smell. The deodorant bit, I don't know where this concept has come from. Well, obviously this person's been through Europe and has experienced it. I haven't really been through Europe, thinking about it. Where have I been? Spain, France. God, I need to explore that side more, don't I? But saying this, I want to finish this up, right? People stink, people use deodorant. I'm not sure, I'm very confused as to why people don't use deodorant. If there's a valid reason for not using deodorant, or a product, even like a salt rock, that can stop you smelling like BO, let me know, because I'm very lost there. I don't know why people wouldn't do that. Rounding this situation up, stations stink. Even bus stations outside, someone's had a wee on it. Yeah. Train stations smell. Sometimes you get on a bus and someone's left a bag of poo in it. That's fact. They're not the cleanest places. Sometimes you go walk into them and you're scared for your life for absolutely no reason. You just get that feeling that you should be. Unless you are a physical bus station or tube station or metro station, try not to be offended. You are not the physical, you didn't build it. It's not named after your family. You don't clean it. You know, you are not a door into the station. You know, you're a human. Am I super, super paranoid now that maybe I smell? I am, but I like to think I'm super hygienic. And I wear deodorant. And I go to lengths to make sure my armpits do not smell. And other areas. Let me know if you smell down below. Thank you for joining me. Love to know your opinions on this as always. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.